Hey everybody, it's Missy again. Thanks for joining me today. I'm here with a new layout for the Thermoweb design team. And this layout is also for day 7 of the 'Tis the Season 12 Days of Scrapping with Audrey Yeager. So huge thank you to Audrey for inviting me to take part in this again. It's a lot of fun. So this layout, let me just tell you, I make so many mistakes in this layout, and I'm going to walk you through everything that I did wrong, but it turns out okay in the end, but getting there was a struggle. So I've got all my Thermoweb products that I'm going to use for this layout, and since we're scrapping about Christmas, I've got a cut file that I've already cut here, and I'll talk about that in just a second. I'm going to scrap a black and white picture. This is from several years ago. It's of Santa at school and Paige. She was just a little bitty thing there, and I was holding her because, you know, Santa's scary, but when I held her, she was fine. So got lots of pictures from that day back in, I think, 2011. Gosh, so long ago. Okay, so this cut file is from Just Nick. If you follow Just Nick, she's doing a freebie giveaway every day for the first 12 days of Christmas, and I believe that this was the first day, and so I got it. It says ho ho ho. I love how it looks, and I think it's going to make a great background design. So I've cut it on white cardstock, and what I'm going to do today to apply foil is use the transfer gel, and that's what I'm scraping over the cut file there. It's in that little container. It looks basically like a thick glue, and you know, you could rub this over paper using anything. I find palette knife is the best, and it's dry there. You want to let it dry to where it feels kind of sticky and tacky, and I had to be very careful peeling it off my mat here, and I did all that while it was still stuck on my Cameo mat, and it did not mess it up. It did not seep through the paper or anything like that, but it did kind of make the pulling off process a little tricky, but I got it all done, and it's fine. It's kind of warped, but that's what happens when you add something liquidy to cardstock, but it's going to turn out fine. So let me just show you this terrible mistake that I'm about to make. It's not the product's fault. This is all me, and I felt like such a doofus once I did this. So anyway, here's how you want to apply foil with this transfer gel. That's parchment paper that I've got there. You want to kind of tear a piece off to act as kind of like a folder to guide it through your laminator, which I've already got hot. This foil is gorgeous. This is the Deco Foil Transfer Sheets in Champagne. It is a beautiful gold color. It is my favorite. And you want to stick it on top of your design, foil side up. And clearly the foil comes in long sheets, so I couldn't cover the whole thing at once. So this part goes great. I sped that up, I feed it through, and the heat is going to press the foil onto the transfer gel. And this is so gorgeous. I was squealing at how pretty this turned out. So all you do is turn it over and very carefully peel it away, and anything that the transfer gel was on, you're going to have foil stuck to it. And it is beautiful. Ooh, it's so shiny. I love it. So far, my day was fantastic. Everything was going great. So then I thought, okay, I got to do the other half. So here's what not to do if you have a big design like this that you want to feed through your laminator. Everything's great. I'm going to cover this up, and I'm going to do my other half. I fed it in too much to the right. You see those O's sticking out? They're about to get crumpled up. Yeah, and so what's going to happen? Guess what? It's going to get accordioned in there. It's not coming out. And this is me looking at it going, oh! So I had to start over. I turned off my camera. I went to bed. I was so upset. I had to dismantle my whole laminator, screws and all, to get that thing out. Luckily, I was able to reassemble it and redo it, and it still almost wanted to get caught in there again. Almost had another heart attack, but I salvaged it, and it does kind of have a little bit of wavy texture because of that, but I think it adds character. So anyway, after that saga was over, I was happy with how it turned out, and now it's time to figure out everything else about the page. Now, a couple weeks ago, some of the design team members on the Thermoweb team were sent the Carta Bella A Very Merry Christmas collection and the Oh What Fun from Simple Stories collection. And so I'm going to kind of use bits and pieces from both of those to create the embellishments for my layout here. This is a Carta Bella sheet, and all these little ornaments, they remind me of old school ornaments from back when I was a kid, and I thought they were so cute. So I wanted to fussy cut some of those out. And that little Santa that I took off the sticker sheet a minute ago, that's also from Carta Bella. And I stuck him to some cardstock and cut him out just so I could move him around. And this is kind of the idea that I wanted to go with. I wanted to create sort of a string or a couple strings of ornaments, kind of like a banner. And this is white cardstock that I'm using here. It's smooth, and I'm going to bring in some spray inks and some watercolors to jazz up the background. Now the blue in those ornaments is a different blue. It's kind of a really rich turquoise blue. It's not royal blue, but it's a really bold color. So I'm trying to mix and match some of my sprays with my Japanese watercolors here, and I'm just trying to get some color on the background. And so when I put the cut file back on top of it with the picture, you know, you can see it through all of that gold foil. And so I'm just going to keep adding and working on the background here. And at first I thought I was just going to use blue because I really like bringing in different colors for my Christmas pages. I don't want to use strictly red and green. I like to bring in blues and sometimes pinks and just different shades, definitely gold. I do think gold and silver are definitely Christmas accents. You know, you see gold and glitter and sparkles and things like that everywhere. So, but I decided to go and add in a little bit of green and even red. And there are parts of this where I thought this looks like blood. And I talked about that on a couple of my recent videos for other Christmas pages, is that you have to be careful with red splatters because it looks like you just gave yourself a paper cut and yeah, you're bleeding all over your project. But so I decided that I needed more than blue. So I did a little bit of the packaging technique here with some green. And again, I'm trying to go with the colors that are in those little ornaments that I cut out. And there are some red ones. And so I get brave here. And I don't do this very often. And it looks like blood right away. Yep. Blood. But I soften it up. I roll my paper towels over that. And I think it looks okay. And once I add everything on top of it, I think it's fine. Not too bloody. And I like how this is looking. And you know I can't create a layout with gold foil without adding some gold onto my background. So Gold Color Shine, that's from Heidi Swapp, and it's perfection. I love that stuff. And so I'm sprinkling it, I'm spraying it, I'm just, yeah, gotta have the gold. When in doubt, add gold. So to glue this down, I'm using the iCraft Mixed Media Adhesive, and that is also from Thermoweb. It's a liquid glue. It dries pretty fast. I mean, you get a little bit of time to move things around, but it is extremely strong and very permanent. So once something is dry with that stuff, it is not coming up. All right, so to raise everything up, the Santa and my photo, I'm going to add some of the 3D white foam squares. That's also available from Thermoweb. Now, I'm going to make another mistake here very soon. This layout, for some reason, I did everything wrong so many times. And I thought, how many times have you made a layout? What are you doing? So I stick down the dots or the squares on the back of that picture. And then I realized I wanted to overlap the Santa. So I had to go back and remove some of the squares that I had stuck down to him. And then I took a break and realized I need some stitching on here. So I did a little bit of gold stitching through some of the ho-hos. And now I'm ready to embellish. So I'm going to create my little banners here. Can you tell that I scrap all over the place? I start on one thing and then I get distracted or I get stuck and then I go on to another part of it and then I go back to that other part later. It's just how my brain works. If I get stuck, I try to move on to a different area or I take a break. And that's why I have so many... well, you don't really know this because of my editing, but I take so many breaks, and so I never finish anything in one sitting. I just I get stuck too many times, and I have to take a break. So I'm adding in some thread here. I've got the matching lime green color, or that bright green, and then a little bit of the blue over to the left. And this just kind of adds pops of color. It adds texture. You know, it just adds a little bit to the messy factor, since you know I like to make messy pages. Nothing messier than thread that just fell from the sky, right? That's how I intend for it to look, even though I force it to look that way. I'm going to glue down my little banners here. Now here's where I make a stupid mistake. I just stick glue back there, totally forgetting that I had to peel the backing off of these little dots. This is me looking, going, you doofus, what are you doing? You need to peel the backing off of the sticky dots. So now I'm going to go back after I squirted some glue in there, and then they were sticking to my fingers. Yeah. And then my thread stuck to my fingers, and this is me going with my hands. I was like, who are you? Have you ever done this before? Yeah. It's a good thing that I bleeped out me actually doing this, so you could not hear what I was saying, because it was probably offensive. Yeah. There's me trying to get threads unstuck from my hands. Yeah. Do you ever have a layout like that where you love it, but it's just driving you up the wall? That's what was happening here. Okay, so I did some more stitching. I got all of those ornaments down. Now I can kind of flip up the edges and make them look a little dimensional, and they look like they're hanging there on some strings. So I do love how that turns out. And now I'm going to come in with some more stickers. This is the sticker sheet from the Simple Stories. I'm going to stick that little Christmas tree in there just because I wanted a little tree on there. And then I'm going to use that word joy because it's the perfect blue color. It brings in that bright blue. And that's a little snowflake star. And I don't really want to do a whole lot more embellishing because I want the shine of the ho 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 to stand out, and I love how the little ornaments look. And it really doesn't need a lot more, I don't think. Just a couple more little things around the picture just to add some pops of color. And then I'm going to use my gold pen to journal. And I think I'm getting close to finish. I do add a little bit more gold splatters, but I think it's almost finished. So, lessons learned. Make sure you don't stick something too huge through your laminator. And if you do, make sure it's not going to get stuck on the side. And make sure you take off the backings of your sticky dots. There's the final layout. I love how this turned out. Look at this shiny gold. It's so pretty. I love it. I love gold. I'm a goldaholic. Can't help it. I tried to take many pictures as I could where you could really see the shine of the gold and the dimension of those little ornaments there. But this was, I want to say it was fun to put together, but it stressed me out because of all my stupid mistakes. But hey, you live and you learn, and the layout still winds up turning out okay. You can see the dimension there from the waviness of it getting caught. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.